There are moments when art does something strange to the body. Your breathing slows, your chest tightens. You feel very small, yet somehow expanded. In the 19th century, travelers fainted in museums. Some wept. Some felt dizzy, unsteady, overwhelmed. This reaction became known as Stendhal syndrome, a physical collapse caused not by fear, but by beauty. One of these moments happened to the writer Fyodor Dostoevsky when he encountered the body of the dead Christ in the tomb by Hans Holbein. His wife described him standing frozen, trembling, overwhelmed, as if struck by something beyond language. And this raises a strange and powerful question. If a painting can move us the way a religious vision once did, what kind of space are we standing in when that happens? Because, increasingly, these experiences don't happen in churches. They happen in museums. For centuries, humans used one word for this kind of encounter: the sacred. But in the early 20th century, philosopher and theologian Rudolf Otto gave this experience a more precise name. He called it the numinous. The numinous is the feeling of encountering something wholly other, something outside ordinary reality, something that cannot be fully explained, only felt. Otto described three qualities within the numinous: mysterium, deep mystery, tremendum; awe, power, even fear, fascinans; beauty, attraction, longing. Together, these create the strange mix of terror and wonder found at the heart of religious experience. And yet, people now feel this same structure of emotion in front of art. Another scholar, Mircea Eliade, noticed something even more interesting. He realized that the sacred is not only something we feel, it is something that happens to space itself. Most of the world feels continuous and ordinary. Eliade called this profane space. But sometimes space breaks open. A rupture appears. A center forms. He called this a hierophany, a manifestation of the sacred within the ordinary. Once this happens, space is no longer equal. It gains gravity, meaning, orientation. You move differently inside it, more slowly, more quietly, more carefully. Even people who are not religious experience this. Birthplaces, memorials, bedrooms, and, as this project argues, museums. Now imagine walking into the High Museum of Art in Atlanta. Traffic fades, glass lifts upward, white walls rise, light spills down from above. You are no longer moving through the city. You are crossing a threshold. Instead of stairs, you ascend through long, curving ramps. Your movement slows. You turn. You rise. You pause. This is not efficient circulation. This is procession. Just as religious spaces guide worshippers through ritual movement, the high guides the body through spatial ritual. You are being prepared, whether you realize it or not, for a different kind of encounter. At the center of the High Museum is its four-story atrium, flooded with light from above. The space dwarfs the human body. The eye is drawn upward. Sound fades. Movement stills. Visitors often describe a feeling of quiet awe here, not because they are told to feel it, but because their bodies respond before their minds do. This is the structure of Otto's numinous: mystery, awe, attraction, vulnerability. The high does not simply display art. It creates the emotional conditions for transcendence through space itself. Architectural theorist Thomas Barry helps us understand why this happens. Barry argues that architecture can act as a mediator of transcendence, a material framework that supports spiritual or transformative experience. At the high, this happens through light, which dissolves physical boundaries; verticality, which produces awe pauses, which invite contemplation; gathering, which creates shared emotion. This shared emotional atmosphere is what sociologists describe as collective effervescence, when individuals experience heightened emotion together through a shared spatial ritual. This is not just an individual reaction, it is a collective sacred atmosphere. To fully understand what the high is doing, it helps to compare it to a space that is undeniably sacred, Durham Cathedral. First, both spaces use procession. Durham's long nave draws the body forward toward the altar. The high's ramps draw the body upward through space. Different directions, same ritual logic. Second, both rely on light and verticality. Durham's clerestory windows lift the gaze toward heaven. The high's skylights dissolve physical edges and fill the atrium with radiant light. In both, height becomes symbolic, not just structural. Third, both spaces create communal stillness. Worshippers at Durham gather in reverent silence. Visitors at the high gather beneath the atrium in shared contemplation. This is collective effervescence in action. Finally, both function as hierophanies. Durham reveals the sacred through religion. The high reveals the sacred through architecture and art. Different belief systems, the same sacred mechanics. Of course, a question remains. Museums are secular. Sacred experience is often considered subjective, but Eliade reminds us that sacredness is not defined by institutions. It is defined by rupture, orientation, and transformation. If a space interrupts ordinary reality, reorganizes movement, transforms emotional experience, then sacredness is present.